Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of their Perception Diet, and today I have another kind of paradox video for you. So this is the self-love paradox that states that the more you love and accept yourself, the more you're going to change. Alright, so this is something that I am actually really excited to talk about this. So first things first, Shauna in my Facebook group and my Patreon group essentially is the one that inspired this video. So hello, thank you for the discussion that you gave me and for inspiring this video. I am so glad that you spoke up and that you said what you wanted to say so that I could explore my thing and we kind of came to a great understanding. So in this video, what I'm wanting to talk about is the idea of change and expansion and growth, not coming from a place of feeling like you were wrong before. Okay, so how this kind of all came about, the context of this, was I was walking my Patreon group through my transformation series, which you can find on my blog if you want to find that. And we were on the section of programming, so I was kind of using the material, the same kind of material in my the emotional mastery series, where we were talking about how, you know, we have conditional programming, we were all wounded at some point, and then we start to move from this wound of I'm not good enough, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, and that starts to be the kind of foundation for our lives, right? And then it kind of sparks from that point this understanding or this feeling that because there's something wrong with me, I need to change, right? Change is always coming from this idea, this foundational, fundamental idea that because I'm messed up, I need to change. Because there's something wrong with me, I need to change. And then the kind of paradoxical weirdness that comes with that, which we know that as soon as we judge ourselves and we say there's something wrong with us and we think there's something wrong with us, we essentially cut ourselves off from ever being able to actually grow and actually change and actually expand in any real quantifiable way, because we've put ourselves into a state of fear, right? And we know that from a state of fear we cannot change. And so I was harping on this, right? And I was saying, you know, essentially the bottom line is we suffer because we go into resistance, right? The reason that we suffer in life is because we believe we are bad and wrong, which is ultimately a false belief, right? And that false belief puts us into a state of resistance, right? We don't want more information, we don't want to know, we don't want to feel, we're pushing against ourselves, we're trying to get rid of aspects of ourselves, we're trying to fix ourselves, we're doing all this stuff, right? That's all resistance. We're not, so we're judging ourselves as wrong, and we're judging the world as wrong, we're judging the perceptions and the reflections as wrong and bad, and this shouldn't be happening, and stuff that isn't happening should be happening, and we're all in this like fear thing, right? And then we get stuck and we can't move. And what that does is that shuts down learning, right? That's really the ultimate thing. That shuts down learning, that shuts down growth, that shuts down expansion, because we know that when we're in a state of fear, we're in a state of resistance, we're not taking in information. We've decided we already know this is wrong and it needs to be different, but we don't understand anything, right? And so shifting into a state of love is simply shifting into a state of openness and saying, I want to understand. So if I have a self-destructive behavior, instead of automatically judging that the self-destructive behavior is bad and wrong and I have to get rid of it, and then going on that rampage, right, which pretty much everybody does, and then no one ever gets rid of their self-sabotaging behavior, they either just stay being self-sabotaging forever or they switch it to a different self-sabotaging behavior, right? Like that tends to be kind of how it works. Because we're so shut down, we're not understanding why the self-sabotaging behavior is there. We switch to a state of love where we say, okay, I'm going to get curious about this self-sabotaging behavior. I'm not going to try and get rid of it. I'm not going to try and fix it. I'm not going to try and make it go away. I want to understand it, right? Where's the positive intention? Where's the positive benefit? Why did I start doing this? What is this self-sabotaging behavior trying to protect me from? What is this self-sabotaging behavior trying to do for me as in the form of getting a need met that I don't know how to meet, and all of these things. And the more you lean into it, right, you open yourself to it, you learn about it, and you learn really what's truly going on there, what you really need, what you really want, what's really going on with you, who you truly are, what this aspect of yourself actually is when seen in the light. And then it transmutes into you being able to actually get that need met, or do the thing that you came here to do, express the way that you've always been meaning to express, but you thought you couldn't, and all this stuff, right? And that's what going into a state of love feels like, and then we don't suffer so much, right? So the point of it was that as we move into this state of allowing and curiosity and exploration and wanting to understand, which is all a state of love, we suffer less, right? And we judge less, we don't suffer so much. We can have pain without suffering. We can go through our lives and we're not trying to run away from what we think is going to hurt us and from all the parts of ourselves that we hate. And we're actually going into all of those things, learning about them and growing and expanding because of them, right? And that's what self-love does for you, is that it literally turns you into the person you always wanted to be by you not trying to be that person at all, by you just finally accepting the person that you are and learning from where you're at right now, and then allowing that to transmute itself into the light it always was, right? Like I talk about this many, many times, that I did not get rid of anorexia. It transmuted itself, right? I didn't try and get rid of it. I tried to get rid of it for years and years and years and years, and then one day I was just like, fine, you know what, whatever. If I'm going to be anorexic forever, I'm going to be anorexic forever, and I accept anorexia, and you don't have to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden she was like, oh, you want to understand me now. Let me tell you all these things that, I'm the part of you that's super expressive. I'm the part of you that knows how to eat properly, but it's weird, and you're going to have to be kind of a freak, and like, blah, 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 blah. And as I started to embrace those aspects of myself, they all became self-constructive, right? So anorexia didn't go anywhere, but I don't have any inclination to starve myself or hurt myself in any way ever, because it's expressing in the light now, okay? So that was what I was saying. And then Shauna came to me and she was like, okay, I hear what you're saying and that's really great, but if you're saying that, being in resistance isn't wrong, if you're saying that judgment isn't wrong, why are you making all these teachings about shifting into love, right? That if it's not wrong to be the other way, if it's not wrong to be in judgment, if it's not wrong to be in resistance, and you kept saying it's not wrong, it's not wrong, it's not wrong, but shift anyways, she's like, right, why would we shift? Why are you teaching? Why are you offering this? If it's totally fine to be how we are right now, what is the point? And I was so excited that she brought it to me that way, because I know that I haven't explained it in this way. And so basically what I want to present here today is this, right? What I am suggesting is that right now we're living in the right and wrong fishbowl, okay? And so everything that we hear and everything that we experience and everything that we go through is getting filtered through this right and wrong understanding, right? The knowledge of good and evil. And again, and I did talk about this in the call, that this story of the fall, right, is pretty much in every ancient culture ever. And it's a story of a shift in consciousness. That's all that it is, okay? The story of the fall is moving from a state of consciousness where we were eating from the tree of life, meaning we were eating from the understanding, we were living from the understanding that everything works the way that it's supposed to, that we are one with everything, and that life unfolds the way that it's supposed to unfold. Nothing means we are cut off from love. Nothing can go wrong. So when our friend dies, we feel sad, but it doesn't mean that that was wrong and bad and that shouldn't have happened. That, right, we have all the experiences that we have without the layer of judgment on top of it that it's good and bad, right? And so we shifted from that thinking, being in alignment with nature, being in alignment with ourselves, being in alignment with God, whatever you want to call it, to this fear-based thinking that says things can go wrong, the knowledge of good and evil, right? This duality that happened, where we could no longer see the whole picture. We couldn't see how everything works together as a whole for a reason, right? We shifted into it's either good or it's bad, it's right or it's wrong, it's up or it's down, right? And because of that, we have a fractured understanding of everything that happens to us. And due to that, we have incomplete information, right? Because we're only accepting that it's right or it's wrong. We're cutting ourselves off from the other half of the information, or the other 3/4 of the information of whatever it is that we're going through. And in that, we can't learn the whole lesson, right? And in that, we suffer. Because the whole point of this human experience, as it appears, is to acquire information and learn and grow and expand. That's the point, okay? So this fall in consciousness where we went from understanding the whole picture of everything that's happening and saying, okay, whatever happens is supposed to happen. And what am I learning from this? And how is it blessing me? And how is it growing me? And how is it expanding me? We cut ourselves off from half of the information, and because of that, we suffer. That is the ultimate negative emotion, right? Is that suffering of resistance. So what we're saying here is that that happened, okay? And we've been living that out pretty much for all of recorded human history. And in a way, if we really look at it, we've just been repeating ourselves and 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 repeating ourselves over and over and over again. Because, like I said, from this state of fear, right, we haven't really been able to expand human consciousness very much. Sure, we've expanded technology. We've definitely, had shifts in things, and the world looks different than it did in biblical times, okay? But the fundamental things that we're dealing with, corrupt government, right? Tribes warring with one another, scarcity of resources, religions fighting over which one's right and wrong, that's all the same shit we're still dealing with today, right? It's like you could kind of read the Bible or any historical text of anything that was happening in any period of time way, 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 way back and be like, yeah, no, that's still happening. And the reason that's still happening is because we're not understanding, right? We're not really actually learning from our experiences. And so this is basically what I'm saying, is that first and foremost, it's not wrong to suffer. It's not wrong to be in resistance. It's fine, you're allowed. You can go through 100 million lifetimes of living like that, and no one is going to fault you for it. You are going to learn in a way, right, what it's like to be in resistance and what resistance looks like and have that experience, and there's nothing wrong with it, okay? However, there is another option. So this is what I want to start to introduce to you, is that we want to understand that we don't want to filter this through the right and wrong fishbowl. It's to say that to live in judgment or to live in love are two equal choices. There is no punishment necessarily, or wrong, or judgment, or right, in either choice. It's just, what do you want to experience? This is the real crux of it. Do you want to keep experiencing what you've always been experiencing? And again, from a place of non-judgment, just look at it and say, is this what I want to keep doing? And if the answer is yes, keep doing it. And if the answer is wrong, no, right? It doesn't mean this is wrong. It means you learned from this, you had this experience, that was an awesome thing for you to do for however long you did it, and now you're going to do something different, right? From this understanding that there is no right and wrong, it's just a choice. Okay, so we can think of it like when we're children, right? And we live at home, and mom and dad say, okay, you cannot jump on the bed till midnight eating Cocoa Puffs and do that every night on a school night. You can't do it. These are the rules, and you're not allowed to. That's wrong and bad, right? And so you feel like, I want to, but okay, fine. And so you don't do it, and then when you become an adult, you move out on your own, and you're like, woohoo, I'm free. I'm going to jump on the bed and eat Cocoa Puffs and stay up till midnight every night before work, right? And you're free to do that. And no one is going to come and say to you, nope, that's wrong, that's bad, you can't do that, you made a bad choice, wrong, 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 bad, 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 right? Mommy and daddy aren't going to come and discipline you. You are just going to have to live with the results of the choice you made. And that's really what this is, okay? As we start to move away from needing right and wrong as our mommy and daddy figure, essentially, in our lives, right? This is what this is, okay? This right and wrong thinking is an immature, okay, but I don't mean this in an insulting way, because I still have it too, right? We all are moving out of this together, okay? We're all maturing out of this together. That we are moving out of this immature view that we have of the universe. Almost all of us are projecting our mommy and daddy issues onto the universe with this right and wrong thinking and saying, right, unless I'm wrong, I'm not going to change, right? And the only reason that I should change is because I'm doing something wrong. And what we really mean by that is, unless I'm going to get punished, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But this punishment is something that comes from outside of me, right? There's some ultimate rule book, there's some right and wrong way to live, and we're constantly clamoring for that. And that's why we love religion, and that's why we love government, that's why we love education, because we want someone to tell us, what are the rules? How do I follow the rules so that I don't get punished? And that is childlike, right? That's really, really just a child perspective, right? Just tell me the rules so that I can do the right thing, so that I won't get yelled at by mommy and daddy. And that's essentially what we're doing when we live from this place of saying, if I'm going to change, it's going to be because I was wrong and bad, right? And I'm trying to get away from being wrong and moving into being right. And we want to evolve, okay, into a more mature level of consciousness that says every option is an option. We're allowed to do whatever we want. We can explore whatever we want to explore in this life. However, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Everything, because there is a system at play, right? The earth and the way that life functions, there is a structure to it, okay? And so what this is saying, I'm going to move out of looking for the right and wrong, and the mommy or daddy in the sky who's going to bless or punish me for making the right or the wrong choice, and I'm only going to change because that meant that I was wrong before, and I'm moving towards being right, into saying, I'm totally awesome and complete how I am. I'm on a journey, right? And there are probably parts of myself that are living out of alignment with the structure of how things work. And as things happen to me that cause me to suffer, right? Internally, the way I perceive things, externally, the way that I do things, I'm going to get curious about that stuff, because that's me learning about the structure. And that's all that it is. So then I can make a new and different and empowered choice, right? So then you can say, okay, I'm totally free to jump on my bed and eat Cocoa Puffs all night and go to work the next day and feel shitty. And that's fine. That's not wrong. There's no one's going to fault you for that. It's just, is that how I want to feel? Is that the experience I want to have? Is that expanding me or not? And that is where this boils down to. So really, it's like this paradox is that the more you love and accept yourself, meaning the more you get curious about who you are, the less you try and change yourself, and the more you just try and get to know yourself, the more you're going to change. You're actually going to be different all the time because of that, because you're going to be allowing for more and more information about yourself and the structure, which are one and the same thing, into your conscious awareness, and then you're going to be able to make different choices based on that new information, right? And these different choices are not right compared to the old choices that were wrong. The different choices are more freedom, more joy, more expansion, more enjoyment. That's it. More alignment with the structure, which just feels better. It's not right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's just, how do I want to feel? What is the experience I would like to have? It's just another option, right? So the other kind of example I gave was that, this is like saying, why would you teach university if high school isn't wrong? And I'm like, well, because it's just another level, right? So living in the duality consciousness, in this old fishbowl of right and wrong, and I'm going to do things because they're right and not do things because they're wrong, and try and be right and not be wrong, that is a level. And you can be at that level and it's not wrong. But to move to this new level of, I'm not moving from right and wrong, good and bad, I'm saying everything is an option. What is the experience I want to have? How do I want to learn? Do I want to learn through suffering, or do I want to learn through joy? Those are choices that I have. Both are fine. But I'm going to be on an accelerated growth rate from the joy place, and it's going to feel better than from the fear place. And maybe I don't have to do the same thing over and over again that I did in the fear place, in the joy place. And that's awesome. So, right, and that's just like university. It doesn't mean high school was wrong. It's just another level to go to. So we want to get out of this right and wrong fishbowl. So being in the right and wrong fishbowl isn't right or wrong. It's just an option. And to come out of it is just an option. And you kind of have to use it, the outside the fishbowl, to get outside the fishbowl. So that's what I'm saying here. You're going to learn and grow and change the most when you're in a state of love, because that's what you're here to do. You're here to expand. It no longer means you were wrong before, or that you're heading towards something that's right. You're just learning and growing and expanding. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video.